would probably want a bit more, which is why I just have this. If the price is right, if they would want this return, I think it's just worth experimenting for. If we want to go for experiment, this would probably be the one to try out, just because I think he is a good controllable arm that we can probably acquire and do some damage with. Now this one is a part of my expected list, and I think these two would be a pretty good return and be one of those deals that we see in Oakland, like, oh my God, that just worked out perfectly, and I think this would be perfect. Now, this is with the the Detroit Tigers, Joe Jimenez and Daniel Norris for Sheldon Neuse, Mark Canha, James Nail, and J.J. Schwartz. Now, it's a lot of people, but don't be intimidated by just the list. Don't be intimidated by just the 4 players. Okay, like, why are we giving 4 players for one good reliever and one question mark for a starting rotation? But let me go over it. Now, Detroit is looking to add at the deadline Shane Green and Matthew Boyd. And you can probably add in Nicholas Castellanos as well in that list of players that Detroit is most willing to look to get rid of, to just start bringing in a lot of pieces to their farm system. Neuse would definitely help out in Detroit. Canha would definitely help out right now in Detroit. James Nail would probably almost be ready to help out in Detroit. J.J. Schwartz, it just gives them a good catching option for the future. I mean, these guys, all these 4 guys have good upside, and James Nail, I know he's not at the best moment of his career right now, but he can be a decent pitcher for the Detroit Tigers. And I really think these guys, I mean, there are a lot of position players, I understand that, but the real good prospects that they're going to get for pitching is going to be from Shane Green, and it's going to be from Matthew Boyd. I just have a feeling that that's just kind of how it's going to happen. Joe Jimenez is someone that I really, really like. And I think he's just been getting unlucky with a bad Detroit team. He's just not feeling it, and because it's just been a bad Detroit team. I mean, just what more can you say? I mean, you can't really pitch your best baseball with a bad team playing for. I mean, they have one of the worst records in the MLB. I think they're top 3 worst record. So let's go over his stats. 4.81 ERA, which is kind of high. 4.66 FIP. 7 home runs given up, but he does have 51 strikeouts and 33.2 innings pitched. Joe Jimenez was an all-star last year, which is why I would want him to be an important asset for this bullpen. If we get Joe Jimenez, I think that would be perfect for Oakland. A guy that's young, a guy that's controllable, a guy that can be in the bullpen for years to come. And he wouldn't be in the everyday option unless if he starts pitching like one. If he starts pitching like really, really good, if he starts doing some Sean Kelly or Jeurys Familia from last year type stuff, okay, then put him in a more significant role. He has the capability in being in the higher parts of the bullpen, and he can also pitch every now and then in low leverage situations if you need him to as well. Daniel Norris is someone that I would probably want just because I think he has an option left or 2 options left. You don't have to necessarily always put him. You can just demote him and promote him, and just give him an opportunity to have a spot where he can pitch for a team that is contending. He has been unlucky so far in his career just because of the injuries. We all know he was a former top prospect. The stats that he has right now is a 4.96 ERA with a 4.61 FIP, 9 inning pitch, 15 home runs in 90 innings, but 23 walks, 71 strikeouts. Now, Norris is either a hit or miss type guy. If you're going to miss, you're going to miss big time with Daniel Norris. But he does have upside, and I think that's just worth taking a shot at. Now, I know I was one of those guys that right now, I know I just said right now that if I do want to add people, just be really good and controllable. That's kind of hard to find, especially with the pitching that's available right now. It's not that much pitching that's available. But everyone else is going to be asking. Don't think that you're the only team that's going to be asking for these for a deal. And Detroit is looking to deal. Daniel Norris might be available. They might want to get him out of their hands anyways. And I think this is a pretty good pretty good package so far. So Canna would be there. Noisy would be there. You can say Canna's been a key contributor, but he hasn't been the Canna from last year. Noisy is just not really given a lot of chances over here, and he's hitting phenomenally well with Las Vegas. So I think he would benefit from this. Nail would probably get a fresh start, and hopefully he can bounce back for that. JJ Schwartz will be blocked by Drew Milas and also Kyle McCann, because those are just strong catching core coming in, and I think he's just not going to be given opportunities. If he were to go with Detroit, he would be given a fresh start as well. Now, I think this trade would help out Oakland. Joe Jimenez would be a key piece for this bullpen, just because I think the bullpen doesn't need so much. They just need one or two guys that are really, really good options. This bullpen goes back. They probably just need one really good bullpen piece, and then it just turns things around. And Puck is coming in later soon, and he is expected to be in the bullpen as well. Jerome Cotton is expected to be in the bullpen later on as well. So don't expect Oakland to go out all the time for a reliever. So I have that in my expected list. Another person that I have in the expected list is a left fielder with the Arizona Diamondbacks and David Peralta. Now, a lot of people were kind of hesitant in David Peralta, but David Peralta is a controllable piece. He is going to get paid $7 million this year, but we're going to just pay the remaining part of that money right now, because he's not owed $7 million just for after 3 months of baseball. No, he's going to be a lot more cheaper for Oakland, and he has an option next year. Whether we pick up that option or not, I don't know. But he is hitting 9 home runs, 44 RBIs, 289 batting average, 352 on base percentage, and 24 doubles. This would immediately be a boost for our lineup. This guy is on pace to hit almost 20 home runs, 15 to 20 home runs. He's on pace to hit 80 plus RBIs. And if he keeps this up, on pace to hit 40 doubles. This guy could be the option. He can play good enough defense at left field, and this would be incredible for Oakland. And I think a trade that would be to Arizona's liking, Jameson Hannah and Jurickson Profar. You can add cash or a low prospect as well, but that's the two that I put in for David Peralta, just because I don't think he would cost as much, just because he's already at $7 million and he has an option year. That's probably in Arizona's eyes right now, but a lot of people can say that's not enough, just because Arizona is a contending team at the moment. Whether they will continue, I don't know. Ketel Marte is having an extraordinarily good year, but who's to say that he won't regress in the second half? I don't know. I mean, I didn't see Ketel Marte hit as much home runs in Seattle, but Arizona, he's doing, I think, 14 home runs already. I don't know if that's going to continue to happen. Nick Ahmed, I don't know if that's going to continue to happen. Arizona is being the unexpected contending team. But I don't know if that's just going to continue. I really don't. But this trade would probably be in another month if I would have to be on the safe side, or it can be in 2 weeks or something. I don't know. But if Arizona starts losing, I think this trade would be more likely. There's been a lot of sources that have linked in David Peralta to be a good option for Oakland, and I think that is just general knowledge being put into play, because Peralta would not be a bad option for Oakland. If you were to get rid of Profar, this will be one of those places where you can get rid of him, because Profar can give versatility to Arizona. Whether it be good versatility or not, he would probably fit in what Arizona is trying to do. Jameson Hannah, a good outfield prospect. This is one of those top prospects in Oakland that can be a game changer in the future. Hannah can probably, I wouldn't I wouldn't be surprised if Hannah could be a 55 rated prospect in the future and be one of the top 100 prospects in MLB, because he just has a lot of upside. So that would be a big get for Arizona, in my opinion. And Arizona doesn't have too shabby of a farm system as well, because they just got rid of Goldschmidt, and they just did a good amount of trades. And I think they're going to be sellers. I don't think they're going to be legit contenders. They might get rid of Robbie Ray. They might get rid of Zach Greinke, Archie Bradley. Other good options for Oakland if they want to pitch in as well. But I'm just going with David Peralta if I had to go with the moves. Now, this last trade is not in my list. But if he's available and the price is right, what I'm asking for, definitely try to go for it. Francisco Liriano from the Pittsburgh Pirates. 3.09 ERA, 43.2 innings pitched, and 6 home runs, 22 walks, 42 strikeouts, 4.64 ERA. Now, do I think the stats are appealing? Some of it's appealing, some of it's not. The walks is not appealing, and he's almost walking half of the batters that he's faced in this innings. So that's not as great as it looks like when you see the 3.09 ERA. But he is a veteran arm that has experience pitching for good teams, and he can go multiple innings if you need him to. Liriano would bring in another left-handed option. Whether the A's would use him as a lefty specialist, I don't know. But he could be much more than a lefty specialist. Way, 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 way more than a lefty specialist. What I'm giving up is Oscar Tovar, who has a lot of upside, but just has gotten suspended a second time in 2019, but does have a lot of upside, and Bo Taylor. Bo Taylor answering well to his first time getting called up this year. I love Bo Taylor right now, but there is a logjam in the catching position. Jonah Heim is continuing to rake in Las Vegas. And Sean Murphy is almost close to coming back. You have Josh Fegley. You have Chris Herman. There's just a lot of options in the catching position. Would we probably keep Bo Taylor? Do I think he's going to be a piece to be moved? I don't think it's likely that he's going to be moved. But if I had to put someone in that would be intriguing for Pittsburgh, it would definitely be a catcher, because they are really, 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 really not that setting catchers. And I think Bo Taylor would be a good option for them. Now, those are the guys I expect, or just the guys that I want to trade for, and they're in my list. Now, with all the adjustments in the way, or made, I guess, this will be our 25-man roster. Fiers pitching as a starter, being joined along with Brett Anderson, Daniel Norris, Mengden, and Bassett. That is a solid rotation. Solid rotation. And you would probably also get Shamanaya later in the future, and you'll get Jesus Luzardo. And those are two options at the starting position. So those will be your backups. And you can always go back to either Tanner Anderson or Paul Blackburn, yada, yada, yada. You can have those two come in at any time as well. But that is a pretty good rotation. I don't think they're going to do too much in the starting rotation picture, just because they have a lot of upside going forward. But the bullpen, this is how the bullpen looks. Trinan, Hendricks, Petit, Joe Jimenez, Trevino, Soria, Buckner, and J.B. Wendelken. Now, Wendelken would probably fit in well in here. I think he's pitched a lot better. Joe Jimenez would definitely benefit from pitching with this pitching staff. Definitely love the bullpen from there. I don't think the A's are going to do a lot of moves. Don't expect too much moves. They have good pieces already. Don't forget, in the pieces that they have, then they probably can break out. There's some people that's struggling that can probably break out in the second half. And there are some people that can probably regress more, or regress that were doing good in the first half. So it's a lot of time of baseball left before we make these decisions. At the catching situation, I see Herman and Fegley. Don't change that. I think those two will be just fine going into 2019 with the second half. Olsen being the lone first baseman. Barreto and Pinder, just because Barreto just needs more playing time. I would give Barreto that. Marcus Semien and Chapman, keep them there. Peralta at left field. Martini being the option at the second option in the outfield. Martini just being there at